Welcome to Connect with Christina, aka Call Christina Now, aka The Legal Plug. And today with me is attorney Travis Meltzer. Did I say that right?
Meltzer.
Meltzer.
Yeah, like seltzer water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've been friends for a while,
Yeah.
so that's good.
That's good. I'm terrible with names,
I
too.
stand corrected. Yo, you're just so laid back that you don't correct me.
No, I really don't. I think there's been a few texts that I just kind of let it go. But
Okay, so you have some exciting news, please.
I do. So, yeah, after being in this industry now for about, 6 years on the plaintiff side, 4 years on the defense side, I am opening my own firm, and I opened it about a month ago. So, Valley Injury Law. It was one of those names that I was actually surprised wasn't taken yet, to be honest with
Yes.
you. There are versions of it. I'm licensed in Nevada, too, so Vegas calls itself the Valley as well. And
Right.
So, and it's pretty transferable to other
I can't believe that wasn't taken.
Me either. No, I have no idea.
It was meant for you.
Exactly.
It was meant for you. So you just opened in a month, and how's that been?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, no, I've been very lucky, and I think before we were talking on here, I mean, the support from the community has been heartwarming, to say the least. I've been fortunate to build those relationships over the past couple of years, and it's been like a rallying cry behind me, which has been really nice. So I can't thank the community enough to make these first, 30 days of existence pretty, hate to say easy, because that makes it sound really bad, but been nice and a lot less challenging than it would have been otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's a testament to you, too. The community's behind you because we know you're a good guy.
Appreciate that.
So, well, take it back further, though. Like, how did you even get into personal injury?
Yeah, so just coming out of law school, much like a lot of attorneys, I just applied everywhere, and I happened to fall into insurance defense. And so I was a defense litigation attorney for about 2 or 3 years, defending anything from the casinos to just normal Liberty Mutual, kind of any of the insurance companies. And I didn't really feel good about what I did. You're torn between that insurance company and the person who caused the accident. So once I kind of got tired of that, I just, wanted to feel better about what I did. And, personal injury was a natural draw, given my experience before. And so after that, I just kind of made my way into personal injury. So it's a natural fit.
It's kind of crazy, I guess, for lack of a better word, that there's a lot of people that have that, like, channel. They graduate, they end up doing, insurance defense, and then they find, like you said, naturally personal injury because that's what feels good.
Yeah, no, exactly. And honestly, insurance defense just kind of sucks. It's just it's not the best job to, I don't know, I like the grind, like I like working, I like doing that, but it's just a whole different animal. And you go home exhausted, you're getting calls all hours of the night from your boss, and just...
Well, what is it about personal injury that was a natural draw for you? And what in personal injury, because we all have different, like, stories and answers to that. I know what my why is, but yours, like, what is it about personal injury that you like so much?
Yeah, I mean, for me, going to law school, I think I always had this dream that, I wanted to do, do good somehow, some way. I was one of those guys that wanted to be an attorney and couldn't tell you why. I had no idea.
Since when? Like, since
forever.
How old? Really?
Yeah, I think the first job that I wanted was either a garbage man and then an attorney. It's the last other one I remember, so couldn't tell you why.
I'm going to rephrase the story, okay?
Sure.
So why is it that personal injury, it was a natural draw for you? What about it feels good?
Yeah, no, helping people. Honestly, I think it's one of the few things an attorney can really do to change somebody's life in a positive way, and maybe not change it, but help and affect it in a positive way.
Sometimes you can't change it.
You can, yeah, and even if it's just something as small as changing how people look at attorneys as a whole, I feel like that is a battle that I deal with all the time. I'm sure you've dealt with it a lot too, and people have these preconceived notions as to what attorneys are.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, that picture and that kind of that stereotype of attorneys, this old guy that doesn't really know much beyond his own nose kind of thing. And so I think for me, and my generation in general, I think that's kind of been the push for me is really, I'm not the everyday attorney. I'm not that stereotypical attorney. I'm like everybody else. I just happen to go to law school and make, I'm not better than anyone just because I have a degree. And I try really hard to get that point across to clients.
Right.
I don't ever talk down to them. I don't ever want to do that. I want you to understand, like, we're on even footing. I get it. You're
and
hurt.
you're there to help.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I compare myself to, you go to the doctor for help, you go to the attorney for help.
Right.
It's just one of those things. But I try really hard to sit and dress like this. I don't dress in a suit. I don't try to be that guy, so to speak. But
and you go to a mechanic for your car.
Exactly.
Right.
No, exactly. No, you're right. And that's the thing. You know your lane, so to speak.
Right.
No pun intended. And so that's kind of where I've been and where I've really stressed in my career, because I've been on the other side of it, like insurance defense, where these attorneys are that old school attorney. You got that old white guy in the corner that's never going to leave kind of thing, and that's just how it is. And so you just kind of have to answer to them, and they're the boss, this, that. And so it's just kind of like ruin that stereotype and kind of get rid of it.
Right. Well, I think you've done a good job with that, because you're very approachable, and we're shared the same space, so I know how people receive you, and you're very genuine. So in that space of personal injury now, because you said you did it overall, what is it, 6 years together?
So just in personal injury, well, including my defense, it'll be 9 years actually. So
so I'm sure that you could give some sound advice to our growing state. I mean, we're just growing and growing in traffic, and like people have different habits that they take here from the different states that they come from. You've seen it, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So in coming from you as a personal injury attorney, like what are some of the things that you could tell, the drivers out here to do to try to be,
more careful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring me less business.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, just generally be more careful, be more mindful. I think to be frank, I think that's advice that people can get in all aspects of their life, is just understand that there is a world outside of your car.
Right.
And really, before you make that turn, or before you go, or before you do anything, understand that there could be somebody that affects. And understanding that. And obviously it's probably a little too existential for, just generally driving, but really just understand that you're not the only one on the road.
So don't be texting and driving, guys.
Don't be texting and driving.
Even when you got really good at it.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
Yeah, the blind texts. Yeah. No, use voice text. Use your... I
make fun of that, because I always do voice text, but I have an accent, especially after I talk to my family. And so it's like the Siri doesn't like me.
Right.
And then on top of that, I have to really do it slow and like put punctuations. Otherwise, it's like, it's so funny. You've seen some of my texts. I'm like, hey, I'm voice texting.
Yeah, and for me too, my voice text will catch the radio I'm listening to.
Right.
So it'll be like, oh, hey, mom, and then it has nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, it'll just catch the background noise. So I get it.
Have you seen people do makeup in their car, or Instagram,
yes.
yeah?
Oh yeah, you just
Snapchat.
Open Instagram right now. I'm sure there's people saying like, oh, I'm going on the highway now, and here we go.
Right.
Hooray for a road trip. And no, that is the quickest way to end a road trip pretty quickly.
Yeah,
so.
and and we might like chuckle here, but it's really not funny.
No.
I mean, not to get so heavy, but not everyone walks away from a car accident.
Oh, no, right? I unfortunately have had a lot of experience with those cases where people don't walk away.
And that becomes what?
Yeah, it becomes a wrongful death, and it's just one of those things that it becomes a wake-up call for me. I mean, I've had cases. I mean, I'm dad of 2 young boys, and so I've had cases where my kids' age have passed because of car accident, because people don't pay attention. And it sounds like something that's so simple. When you're driving through neighborhood, slow down. Like, it's not, that your house is going to still be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And you are still going to get
Nothing's
there.
that important.
Right. But is it the thing? It can wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for those who do get in, and I'm never going to stop asking this question to whoever I interview in this space, because everyone needs to hear it, is why should you seek for an attorney or legal help after, a car accident?
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, there's multiple reasons. One, from the point of view of the client or the injured person, you're going to have a lot on your plate after an accident. You're going to be feeling the way you're going to feel. You're going to have to get back to work. You're going to have to deal with your car. God knows what else is going on in your life. So one thing for me as an attorney is we'll take a lot of that off your plate. Just focus on getting better. Focus on getting your life back on track, because as we all know, bad things tend to kind of just snowball. So if there's anything I can do, whether it's open the claim with the insurance company, move things along, get paperwork, things like that, I'll take that off your plate. That's one. Two, you have somebody that can understand how the insurance companies work, how to present your injuries, and how to best get, I guess, the best bang for your buck when it comes to your injuries, get your medical bills paid for, things like that, and understand the buzzwords the insurance companies would use.
You wouldn't know that.
No.
You couldn't represent yourself that way.
No, and they'll take advantage. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, one of the things people don't know is there are different adjusters for every aspect. There's unrepresented adjusters that all they do is throw money at people that get hurt in accidents. That's their job. But once an attorney gets involved, it goes to a different adjuster that's more experienced and understands the true value of a case and the true value of injuries. So,
and their goal is to what?
Right, to save them money.
Right.
Yeah, to give you as little as humanly possible. They'll use magic buzzwords like, I'll give you $1,000 plus reasonable bills. And, what you and I might think is reasonable and what they think is reasonable is totally different.
Right. Well, and the guilt part of most people carry, especially with the word sue, and I feel like, I wish we could change that word really, because you're not even doing that in essence, like why? And so to those people, why shouldn't they feel bad? Why shouldn't they feel guilty?
Right. Yeah. Well, one, you're hurt. I mean, somebody has to, it's not something that you should ever pay for if it's somebody else's fault. But also, it's the insurance company. I mean, that's the reason why you are required to have insurance in Arizona.
Required, guys.
Yeah, legally required. Doesn't mean people have it, but you're required to. And so, that's really where the claim is going. And really, when you file suit, even if it is against that person, it's really the insurance company is the one that's footing the bill, things like that. So it's not as if you're going to ruin this person's life by simply making a claim for your injuries.
And when an accident happens, what's the first few steps they're supposed to take?
Yeah, well, one, take a second as best you can, because people will panic. Once you get that panic ball rolling, there's really no stopping it. And I know that I know that from personal experience, just outside of the accident world, but you just got to take a second, breathe.
I like that advice.
Yeah, just breathe, because then, you really understand what you're doing. You kind of understand what's happening. Even in minor accidents, I've been rear-ended, and I just, you just lose yourself a little bit. You lose your cool. 2, call the police. Call the police. Have somebody come out, because as an attorney, I've seen a lot of accidents where people don't call the police or don't wait for the police, and the insurance companies will use that to their advantage every single time. We don't have any, no record of the accident. Now it's just word versus word, things like that.
Just makes it harder.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And so to make your life easier, call the police. They'll get an ambulance involved if they need to. If you don't need an ambulance at the scene, go see a doctor either that day or the following morning. Just get checked out. Even if you don't feel like you're hurt, go get checked out.
Well, most people don't feel anything until the 3rd day anyway.
Yeah, adrenaline. No, I always, compare it to working out, where you're going to work out 9 times out of 10, you're not sore that day that you work out. You're sore the next day. It's the exact same thing with car accidents and any kind of soft tissue. Obviously, the more extreme, they're a bit different. But yeah, no, I mean, even if you don't think you're hurt, you never know. I mean, hopefully you're not, but if you are, get checked out.
Well, and how about in cases where it's a family and, and there's 2-3 kids in the back and mom is in the passenger and dad's driving and, accidents do happen, even to the best drivers, and it was his fault. Then what? Right.
No, that's a great question. So for me, it really depends. I hate to give the legal, answer, but so if your husband, dad, brother are at fault in a car that you're in, you technically have a claim against not only the other person involved, but also the driver. And so that is ultimately up to you to make the claim against that person. And I have families that happen to all the time, where it's well, look, it's a 50-50 case, or 100% is on your dad or your mom. Are you okay with making a claim against that insurance? Because I understand you're never going to sue your dad. You're never going to sue your mom.
Right.
I mean, I guess not never.
Right.
But most times.
Well, yeah, because that's the point, though. They don't understand that.
Right.
I mean, because it's, of course, it happens. The other person's at fault. But your mom, your dad, your brother is also is hurting. So you should want to help them.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's just understand, and that kind of goes back to what you said before. It's not a suit. You're not getting sued. It is simply a claim against the insurance company for a product that you've been paying for forever. I always compare insurance policies or parts of insurance policies to combo meals at fast food restaurants. It's why would you order the burger and the fries and say, you know what, I don't want the fries today, but I'm going to still pay for it. Underinsured, liability insurance, collision coverage, that's all part of the combo package that you've been paying for years. And then the one time you have to use it, you decide not to me seems kind of strange.
Well, and then think about this. this was a really good experience for me to put it into perspective. I had a 60. The firm had a client who refused to move forward because she felt bad about that word again.
Yep.
And we had to kind of explain it the way that you just did. And it was interesting for her to understand that since she moved out at a young age, 16, and she had been paying for her insurance for a long time, and now she's at 60, and that's the first time that she ever got in an accident. So we had her do a little math, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been paying that much."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, I should use that. I am her."
Yep. Nope. That's a great way to put it. I've never had them added up, but yeah, I mean, I just like, how much do you pay a month? And I mean, how much do you pay this company every year?
Right.
The one time you're going to use it, you just need it. Just
right.
use
And
it.
I think there's this thing with insurance too, like, and people think that they're fully covered and they're not. So talk on that. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So usually when insurance agents use the term full coverage, it does not mean you are fully covered for every incident ever. It is you are legally fully covered. And in the state of Arizona, all that is you are 25/50 liability.
And it used to be
15/30. Yeah, up until I think it was about a year or so ago. So yeah, 25/50. That's it. That total coverage, or fully covered, does not include collision, does not include underinsured, does not include uninsured. So those times that you're like, well, I need to get my car fixed, sometimes, and you are fully covered, you don't have collision coverage, and there's nothing you can do other than hope that the other person does, and it's upsetting. And I get that it's upsetting, but yeah, there's sometimes.
Or even down to rental.
Yep.
That's frustrating.
Super frustrating. Yeah, I unfortunately learned that the hard way too. In mine, I realized in one of my newer cars that just went through, if I generally will go through the dealer. I didn't have rental, and somebody hit the back of my car when it was parked. And having one car with a family of four is not an easy thing, and I get it. It's tough, using friends or family to get around. So yeah, I mean, the best advice I can ever give is make sure you have collision, underinsured, and uninsured motorists in addition to your liability. It's worth the extra $5.
How do you feel about MedPay?
MedPay's good. Yeah, I do like MedPay, especially in Arizona, where don't get any more than $5,000. To be frank, because anything above $5,000 they can lien and get back from any settlement. But no, MedPay's great, especially when it comes to anybody. It's no fault insurance, so even if God forbid you cause it yourself, everybody.
Yeah. And it happens.
Always.
It happens. So might as well add it on there for a couple Starbucks.
Well, yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I just reviewed my Starbucks bill for the last month. I probably could have bought MedPay for the whole...
You heard it here, guys.
for the whole office. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the thing. And just to put it in perspective in the sense of like what you pay Netflix for. I mean, you can protect your family. So, so it's one of those things that really brings more value in the... You might not see it as immediately, but God forbid you need it.
And like I said, when it comes to insurance, it's like you don't want to have to use that, but it's there if you need it.
Exactly.
And it's like, you know what I mean? And the one time you're like, oh, I'm going to take this out, remove this, then you get into something and you wish you didn't do that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So.
No, I mean, buildings are built off of decisions like that, unfortunately. So.
And so to put that into like, just all of it. Like, what would you tell someone to get to check what they have? Yeah,
so, I mean, anytime you either sign up for insurance or renew, make sure you have collision. That'll get your car fixed even if the other person's at fault. Get collision with a low deductible if you can, simply because that'll be able to get your car fixed. Your own insurance company does not need to investigate the accident. Even if you're at fault, they'll fix your car. When it comes to bodily injury, I mean, you have to have liability, but get uninsured and underinsured. Uninsured is one of those, items that a lot of people need, especially, unfortunately, here. It happens all the time where somebody hits
talk
you.
About why.
Yeah, people don't have insurance, and people hit you without insurance because, there's only so much the government or city can do to ensure people have insurance. So uninsured motorists is so important. I mean, it's one of those things where, God forbid, somebody hits you. I mean, it could be significant injuries or minor. Doesn't matter. If you don't have uninsured, there's no coverage. And then you have to sue that person personally. And let's be honest, if they don't have uninsured or any kind of insurance, they likely don't have much to sue for anyway. So yeah, get uninsured and get underinsured. And underinsured is kind of the same thing in the sense that it allows for you to get the other person's full policy, whatever that might be, and then anything in addition to that.
And you said it earlier, to review it.
Yep.
Just like anything else, you should review it. Because sometimes you think you have it, and then that time comes and you don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bring it up. I mean, you have an app. It takes 2 seconds to review your policy now. So it's one of those things where just take a look at it. And then if you need to change it, if you have a larger family, more kid, anything like that. And then also just make sure who is your listed drivers, things like that. That's important.
Why is that important?
Yeah, so if you have somebody that is a listed driver, or more importantly, an excluded driver, if you list somebody and they drive your car, the excluded driver, that policy is null and void for that accident, so they won't cover you or the...
And the excluded policy comes up sometimes when you get a better rate when you exclude someone,
Exactly.
Correct?
Yeah, so sometimes you'll see parents get a better rate on an insurance policy if they exclude their teenage kid.
Right, but then they never forget to remove it.
Exactly. And then their teenage kid inevitably will go and get hit, God forbid, not serious, and then the person doesn't have insurance, and then your uninsured won't cover you because you're an excluded driver. So it's something very important to understand that, again, I understand saving money is important, especially today, but when it comes to,
It's peace of mind.
Absolutely, it's worth it.
What type of accidents do you see that's like the most dangerous? I want to say it's T-bone.
T-bone and motorcycle, anything motorcycle
Wrong way.
involved. Yeah, wrong way. But yeah, honestly, like even I'm not against people riding motorcycles. I get the appeal, but any accident that would even be minor if both parties were in a vehicle, a car, turns into something a lot more serious when one of those parties is in a motorcycle.
Right.
So that's probably the most significant.
Yeah, I mean, the exposure to your head,
Yeah.
Like just I lost a friend a couple of years ago where they went on vacation to Catalina Islands for her birthday, her 40th birthday, and just, horsing around like we all do, and she just fell the right way and hit the right spot of her head, and we lost her.
Yeah, that's awful. And I see things like that all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's... So, yeah, I mean, I would say motorcycles is probably the biggest one. But, yeah, wrong way.
Tell me about wrong way drivers here, though. It happens a lot, and it's scary. Is it our design? Like, what is it? I'll tell you, the Gilbert and the Gilbert 2OT, that's a scary one. I don't know. I think because it's side by side.
I think so, too. I mean, I really probably talk to an engineer about them. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Growing up in Las Vegas, Nevada area, southern Nevada, I didn't see that much of the wrong way drivers, the amount. And also, too, I think here it's simply population. I mean, I think it's just odds. We have so many people here that, unfortunately, mistakes happen. Things like that are going to happen. But, yeah, for whatever reason, you see it a lot here. Right. So the only thing I can say is, well, one, don't do it. But also is if you're driving, you see headlights, I mean, just get off the road. Like, pull over, do your best, stay calm, pull off the,
Right.
But don't just stop.
Don't play chicken.
No, not at all. It's terrifying. That's honestly one of my biggest fears. It's like getting on the highway or you just see headlights coming towards you.
Yeah. Terrifying. And I feel like being in that space, I don't know if it's the same for you, like, you, for your own sanity, you have to really, because we deal with a lot and see a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, there have been days for me that I've had to call it early after a few tough intakes and things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think just the toll it takes, seeing, I mean, people get hurt in so many different ways. It's something you don't understand until it happens kind of thing. And so...
And for me, I take all of that, and which is, part of what we do here at Connect with Christina, and share that message because it's important. And I just want to try to save as many lives as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and save frustration, honestly. It's one of those things where, I mean, really what it comes down to is you're there to support your family, you're there to support yourself, and an accident could cause you the inability to do that and really force you to a different space or force you out of your comfort zone.
Right.
So understanding that you're insured or have the people around you that know what they're doing in this kind of incident or accident is comforting for most.
So now that I know that you grew up in Vegas, your new firm's name is perfect.
Yeah, no, it worked out. Like I said,
so you grew up there, like
born
through and through?
Yeah, born there, went to college there. Came out here for law school, moved back out there, practiced there for a couple of years, so I'm licensed there too, which is great. And
so why did you pick Arizona? I mean, we are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Why
Besides
did you pick
that,
Arizona?
my wife.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. No. When we got engaged, we made the decision
Okay.
for
So
here.
then, before we end the podcast, so tell us why your firm is different.
Yeah. So in coming through a lot of different firms here in the Valley, I understand the importance of attorney involvement in cases, and that sounds like kind of a weird thing to say, but unfortunately there's a lot of firms that don't have that. And so for me, I am on every intake call. I will take all the intake calls. Now obviously that's not forever, but I will always have the attorney that's working your case on the intake call. You will meet them. If you want to meet, more than happy to, but you don't have to. But I will call, if you want to meet me, more than happy to do that. So really it's just a personal touch. I'm here, I'm going to text. I text all the time. I think that's fortunate in our generation, but no,
Fortunate or unfortunate?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? So it's over communicating, but I'm available is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the paralegal every phone call. You're going to get an attorney that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and like you said, though, there's a lot of firms here. So what else will you? I mean, it's a month old. I know you're gonna do really well, but what else are you gonna put in place so that you're different?
Yeah. So for me, it's just the process. I think it's very easy to get into that conveyor belt process in our line of work. So really understanding that it's not just, okay, I'm going to pass your case to the paralegal, and then from the intake to paralegal, and paralegal to attorney, and attorney to accounting, and blah, blah, blah. So it's really just, no, it's the team. You're going to have the team the whole time. The paralegal will do the accounting, I'll do the accounting. It's not, you're just going to have a team with you.
So they don't feel alone.
Exactly.
Because it's overwhelming.
Absolutely, and you'll understand, and I will do my very best to not get overwhelmed. I'm only going to have a certain amount of cases per person. And, it's very easy to lose cases when you overwhelm your staff. So for me, it's just understanding my limits, and I feel like a lot of people don't do that, and knowing when I can move it on to another person. So, I mean, it's one of those things where for me, it's the personal touch and really understanding the process as a whole.
Okay, so then to let everyone know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah.
Here on out.
Yeah, so right now, just, Valley Injury Law, website's azvalleyinjurylaw.com. Just go ahead and take a look at that. Valley Injury Law on Instagram. I don't know how that was available either, but it was, so good for me. And so I don't know.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so
that's meant for you then.
Yeah, at Valley Injury Law on Instagram. You can find all my contact information there.
There you go, and we'll put it up here too for everyone. So, Travis
Meltzer.
Sir.
Yes.
I can't believe I butchered your name all this time.
That's okay.
But you never corrected me.
Nope.
That's a good friend.
It's gentleman.
Just a gentleman. Didn't want to make me feel bad.
No. Never.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Connect
having
with
me.
Christina. Again, thank you, Auto Pros, Fernando, for being our sponsor. And one more time for this awesome guy, you can find him, and we'll put all his information up here. Again, thank you for being here. Connect with Christina, a.k.a. The Legal Plug, a.k.a. Call Christina Now, a.k.a.
The Cloud God.
Brand new biz, never asked her how she get it. Made a couple racks, I never asked her how she did it.